Hey guys, this is Christian. This is part 2 of the Instagram post approval software and how I made it using Webflow, Notion, Make, Whalesync, and Amazon Web Servers AWS S3 buckets. So kind of overview, high level, we have Webflow, which connects the profile CMS and the individual post CMS, which you can see in here. The first video I kind of overviewed how this all kind of connected and worked within Webflow on the front end, and then Notion acts as the back end to control a lot of like the information, where that's coming from. In Notion, there's a profile database, publishing database, image database, video database. We use a lot of relations, rollups, and formulas. And then on top of Notion is S3 buckets, which hosts the images and the videos for the reels to be then displayed live on the Webflow site. So Webflow is not hosting any of the images or videos, and Whalesync is what connects Webflow and Notion. So I guess to kind of visualize it, we have this. We have CMS profile and profile database. So we have this profile, which you can see here. All of the information like the profile image, name, category, link in bio, highlight 1, all the way through highlight 5, and then you can select like related posts here, different things. And then we have profile database inside of Notion. It's the same fields as the CMS in Webflow. I believe there's probably some other things too that are related to the Notion back end, because that's like a full product in and of itself for the client that I made with a friend of mine. And then we have individual posts that relate to the publishing database, also in Whalesync, which you can see here. Landscape posts, you can see all of it. You'll notice that for all the images, there's not like an upload image field, it's a link. And this is drawing from Amazon Web Servers. And so if we copy and paste this, we're going to see the image here. And that's how it works for all of them. Even Reels, Amazon Web Servers hold the videos inside of there. And so, yeah. So that's how all of that is connected with Webflow and Notion. And then there's some pretty tricky things going on the back end inside of Notion to get Whalesync to be able to send Notion's information to Webflow's CMS, and specifically in regards to the images. But I'll kind of start in here. So for both the image database and the video database, it's really the same system, where when they add a file inside of Notion, so there's a specific image database which is related to the publishing database, which you can see it's like relation right here. You can do relation fields inside of Notion. That's how you choose which images are going to show up on the post. So we have the image database, video database. When they upload an image, Make doesn't have any lightning or immediate triggers for when you upload or update a file in Notion. Unfortunately, it just has to be on a rolling schedule. Every 30 minutes it checks Notion, but when it does that, it triggers that inside of Make, which I can show you here. Let's go back to scenarios. Let's see, images. So every 30 minutes it checks the status in Amazon in Notion, and then it basically gets the image file URL and then sends it to Amazon Web Servers, and then sends back the Notion database item with the correct like the AWS S3 link field with the correct Amazon Web Server field URL. That way Notion now has a record of the URL to the Amazon Web Server image / reel. So that creates the URL for the S3 bucket, which goes back into the image database, which then gets shared to the publishing database. So to kind of help you visualize it, here's like an image. This is a relation field to the image database. And when I choose an image here, it then does a roll up which is choosing a property from that image item that shows the Amazon Web Server's S3 bucket URL. And then the problem with Whalesync is that inside the database, you can see here for the image link, it's related to a formula field, because inside of Whalesync, for some reason, you can't sync the rollup. So this is a rollup. This is a rollup right here of the AWS S3 URL for image 2. And you would imagine that you could just take the URL, which shows right here pretty clearly, and then have it sync, or at least send to Notion or Webflow through Whalesync, but it doesn't let you. So we had to do a hack where basically we make a formula that looks like this, that essentially recreates the URL that's right here into a formula. That way it's like a text that can be sent via Whalesync. And this just basically duplicates what's right here in the rollup, but that makes it so that we can have these formulas be sent to the link fields inside of Webflow. And that's confusing, but that's how it had to be done. So basically, publishing database, we choose like 1, 2, 3, 4 images, and that image relationship, right? The publishing database related to the image database, so it knows which image is in the publishing database. It looks up the S3 bucket URL, and then it takes that S3 bucket URL of that image database item and then turns it into a formula which just outputs text, which can at the very least be sent through Whalesync to an image link inside of Webflow. And so that's really confusing. Took a while to figure that out, but we figured it out and it works. So that's how basically when they upload an image or a video into their Notion database, video database or image database, it then can be used in the publishing database in Notion, which then can be synced to the posts inside of Webflow. And then another part of the whole system is for clients to be able to give feedback and request reviews or edits to different posts. So in this one, if they hit approve, this is just a very simple, this is actually a form right here. And we have inside of this form, which is actually just a button, like clicking approve, a hidden input that is the Notion record ID. And we can see inside of this publishing database, the Notion record ID right here. That way, when they hit approve, there is a make automation, which does send immediately. Post request, there it is. So immediately form is submitted, then it goes to a router. If it's an approval form, which there's a different form for approval, right? This is a different form right here than the request form, which you can see when I add this class show. This is a different form than the approval form, which then gets sent to Notion. So this one just updates the Notion database, like, is the post approved? And if it is, then it like selects like post is approved as like a checkbox inside of Notion. On this one, it adds in the text from the request to what the edit request is inside the publishing database. So like edit request details, it'll show up right here. Post approved, you can see that right here. Different things that way. It can be synced and sent over. And so when they submit a request and it goes to Notion, then it also comes back to Webflow. And let's see which post. Oh yeah. So your edit request is complete, and then like their request that they submitted through will show up here, which is why this field, edit request details, is also synced through Whalesync right here. So that way we can see, they can see what their edit request was, and we can see what their edit request was. And yeah, and so there's different relations here. That way we know who's posted by what. yeah, and then the profile database was a lot easier. It's just relate basic categories in Notion. And you might be wondering, why did we do all this? It's so complicated. There's a lot going on. First off, for a client who of this social media social media company, their clients don't want to go into Airtable or Notion and review posts that they're making for them. They want to look at what looks and feels like Instagram and be able to like simply request an edit or approve it just inside of here. That way they don't have to go into another software where it feels like they're doing work. They just want to feel like they're in Instagram. And then for the back end, for the social media managers, it helps them reduce essentially like context switching fatigue, where you go from working inside of one app to another app to another app. And we can build out so much inside of Notion that they can manage all their client relationships, their tasks, and their posts through Notion instead of switching in between different apps and going through different places. So that makes it easier for them, and there's a learning curve to understanding how all of it works and making it work. But once you get it, it's a really cool system that's highly organized and helps them to expand their business in a more organized way. So that's really the goal inside website design and development, I think, should be to build something that is beautiful, right? It looks great and it's excellent, and that it works how you expect it to work, and it does the things you need it to do in an efficient manner that is helpful for both parties. And so that was the goal of Post Check. And yeah, I don't think I have anything else really to dive into in terms of details here. If you have any questions about any of this process, how it works, all those things, you can leave comments on the video. I'll try to put a read-only link to this project inside the description of the YouTube video. And if you want me to go into more detail about any parts of this build, let me know, because it's still a decently high-level overview of what's a moderately complex no-code in terms of no-code solution. Yeah, I mean, dive into this. I mean, you can see like there's two collections in here, and one of them is a reel for Reels. When you click this, and there's a lot of I could even go into like jQuery, because I use jQuery Builder by Timothy Ricks to do a lot of these sorts of things, where if you click on it, it adds and hides and shows classes of different sorts to get things to show when I wanted them to. So yeah, I can go into more detail on those things, some how-tos, but I believe that is all for this video. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube things. Appreciate all the support that I've been getting from people interacting with the videos on Reddit, different areas of the Webflow community. Excited to just start posting more, share more tutorials and things that I'm working on. Peace.